How good is Jared Curtis, the five-star quarterback? I'm going to give you my take on an in-person evaluation and break down his film.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football writer and recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day. Today, it's going to be a breakdown of five-star quarterback Jared Curtis, what he brings to the table, and why he can be absolutely an elite player, not only at the college level, but quite frankly, he has an NFL future if everything goes to plan. First off, I'm going to talk about my in-person evaluation of him about a year ago when I first had a chance to see him and kind of figure out what all the hype was about. And then I'm going to break down some of his film and give you some notes about some of the points in his huddle film that I thought were really intriguing among many. I could have went down the list a little bit further, but talk about why he put those highlights the way he did. Jared's sophomore film was really good and didn't even have to get into his junior film. He didn't even put that up, and it's not even needed. Jared Curtis is an elite player, no question. So first off, I had a chance to see him at Under Armour in Nashville last year, about a year ago. I didn't really know what to expect, but I heard he had a big arm, and I'd seen a little bit of film, but it's just not the same as seeing a guy live. To set the stage, it was a very windy day, not pro quarterback. It was very negative. It was more of a defender's kind of day. But the most important clip that I saw in my mind that I play over and over again, I'm standing on the sidelines just focusing on Jared, and they're in shotgun. They're just guys just tossing him the ball. For whatever reason, toss back to him on one of these plays was terrible. Not Jared's fault, but you still have to adapt. It's low, about ankle height, and off to the right. Kind of a one-hopper. He leans down and gets it. Now, I wouldn't advise anybody to do this, mind you, and into the wind, an underarm, kind of like a sidearm pitcher, some of them go all the way underneath. That's what Jared did on an out pattern and put it on the money. Leaning over, right-handed, I'm like, wow. And he put it on a line too, like his arm strength is through the roof. That was one of the best throws that I'd ever seen in any camp, in any setting. And again, that's not advisable for a young person, and Jared's arm is NFL level already, but it was still something to behold. Fortunately for me, during that play, I was standing pretty close to where the receiver was when he caught the football. And I was just in sight for how it came right at me. I'm like, that was picturesque. That was also realistic football. Sometimes the ball isn't going to arrive right to your hands. You have to adapt each and every time the ball is snapped. Jared Curtis gets an A+ on that particular play. Now here's just some overview of what I saw of him that day at Under Armour. Number one was consistency, whether throwing short, intermediate, off platform like that, obviously the sidearm throw I'll never forget, or throwing the deep ball. Which one would I take the most? The deep ball is the easy, low-hanging fruit because he's got a cannon. I mean, he's got one of the strongest high school arms I've ever seen. But I don't think that would be my answer. I think it would be the intermediate, and that's the hardest throw by a mile over the linebacker in front of the safety, or at least a seam pass. Like if the linebackers are rolled up and it's a little deeper, trying to put it on the money between the two safeties, if it's cover two, or to one side or the other of the safety, depending on the route. There's a lot of difficulty with explaining this one possible route, but not that 30, 40-yard pass, but that 15 to 20 range, that intermediate that can be picked off if you don't use the right trajectory, the right velocity. Jared Curtis is pretty good at that too. Keep in mind, in a camp setting, the guy's out there, he might have played with them a little bit. He might have had a chance to throw in there just a teeny bit, but he really doesn't know those guys. Jared plays at Christian. Nashville Christian. 6'3", 225. He's got a powerful arm, but he plays at a very low level of football. He doesn't know a lot of these elite kids in the sense of playing with them all the time. He doesn't. But kids at this particular event for Under Armour. They're from all over the country. We had Illinois, we had Georgia kids. We had them from all over, North Carolina, all over the place. So even less likely for him to know guys. And it was like he had a comfort zone with some of these receivers and tight ends. It was impressive on that level too. So hats off to Jared Curtis. But again, intermediate passes, no matter if you know the guy, you don't know him, it's a play you've run a million times in practice, it is the most likely play to get picked off. And Jared passed that test with flying colors. That's when I started really paying attention to it. Mobility. Now, Under Armour is not meant to be a quarterback training deal. It's every position. They do testing, 40 and all that stuff. But it's more about just testing the arm, being accurate, a few different things, rollouts and whatnot, and then just the route tree. Well, they still did some mobility stuff, and he was fine. I'll talk more about that when I go over his film. But most importantly, with the arm strength combined, it didn't matter if he's throwing off his right foot, moving to his left, stopping, flipping his hips, gaining an opportunity after he rolled left. He's a right-handed quarterback. He was comfortable. He is very comfortable in his own skin, and he knows he's got a cannon, but he also knows when to take something off sometimes. Shorter passes, 10, 12 yards and in. He won't just knock a guy over. He'll give him a chance to catch the football and be able to turn upfield. Jared Curtis was consistent with that as well. Now, I'm not saying all these things were perfect and he didn't miss any passes. He missed a few. But again, into the wind a lot of the day. It was a bunch of guys he didn't know. And the drills were what you would expect them to be, challenging. And he didn't have any problems. So that was really good. I already talked a little bit about the arm angles on some of the rollouts and some of the different things. He'd throw either over the top, three-quarter. Really didn't matter. Whatever they tried to have him do, it didn't bother Curtis. I thought he was the best player there, and there were some really good football players. But Jared Curtis was absolutely very good. Now, let's talk about his film. I hadn't seen much of it. Prior to that, I'd watched a little. And I went back and watched it a couple of times, including today, right before I did this evaluation. And it's pretty much what Jared had told me at Under Armour. He was blunt and honest. He's like, look, we play 1A. It's not a lot of great players. And, I just do what I do, and I adjust accordingly. It's basically the long and short of the conversation. He was very honest, and I appreciate that. And he was right. Most of the kids on his team, they're not going to a major program. Even East Tennessee State probably isn't going to recruit many of those kids. But to that point, he knows how to take advantage of opportunities. He's got some receivers that catch the ball. He lays it out in front of them. But if he needs to put it on them, like if there's tight coverage, Jared Curtis is also very consistent with that as well. I thought it was interesting. He's got a long highlight from his sophomore year that anybody can go and watch on Huddle. Strongly advise you to do just from an entertainment standpoint. But it was really, really good. So one thing before we go in, I would give a list of some of my favorite plays. His mobility, I knew it a little bit from watching him at Under Armour that it was good. The highlight film from his sophomore year changed my perception of him even more in a positive way, up. We're going to talk about that next here on the Portal Podcast. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Gametime, you can be a part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Gametime makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off draws closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Here's an example. While you can save money on NBA playoff tickets, you can also go to a comedy show, go to the theater with your friends, or maybe you want to go and check out the opera. This is an opportunity with Gametime to save 60% off no matter what you're looking for. The all-in pricing also means that you don't have to worry about stressing about the price changing after you get to checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Jared Curtis is a special player, and the film was just a great way to reemphasize what I'd seen and to remember some of those throws that he made during Under Armour. But again, Under Armour is not designed to be an all-encompassing quarterback drill. It's not what it's meant for. So seeing him get rushed, and it's not much fun getting hit by guys trying to crush you, his ability to move back and forth and change direction was way better than I anticipated. Make you miss ability at the quarterback position is the new trend, and I don't really think that's going to go back because offense is in, and with the way the rules are set, especially at the NFL level, that's only going to escalate. So there were some times where Curtis did things that I wouldn't advise, but again, he was playing 1A to 2A competition for the most part on his sophomore film. That's okay. He still maximized. When you play inferior competition, you should absolutely dominate, and he does. Here are a couple of the plays that I liked the most. At the 22nd mark of his huddle film, again, this is sophomore film, rolls right, puts it on it. When you're rolling like that and you don't have the ability to set your feet and you still make a very accurate pass, that's a good sign. You just have a feel for the position. 47 seconds in, just the ability to avoid the players around him, change directions. It's a neat play. I highly advise you take a particular attention to that play. 118 is something that he shouldn't do, but he gets away with it partially, in fact, because of the competition on this one. He's fading back. It's at the 118 mark of the film, but his arm strength is good enough, and it was just a dime, that he threw a deep ball was pretty darn good. 232, another roll right, and he just puts it on the guy. This is a very difficult thing to do, even though it's to his strong side because he's right-handed. That doesn't make it any easier. If your feet are not set and you're not naturally going through your traditional motion, it's still a more difficult pass. At the 458 mark, maybe the funniest play, he rolls to his left, kind of cuts up through, then comes back, and the guy in the far corner, somebody with busted coverage. They did a pretty good job underneath him. I'm like, where's he throwing it to? In the back corner, and everybody raises their heads. He saw a guy through a bunch of traffic and hit him for a touchdown. Probably threw the ball 35, 40 yards in the air. He'd gotten back to pretty close to behind center, maybe just past it, but he'd went all the way left, come back. He just found a way to stay alive on the play. And there are several others that I could have gladly thrown in there too, but his film is long. You should check it out. Jared Curtis has all the upside in the world. Now, he's going to Georgia. We'll see what he does, but I just want to make one final statement about him. If Kirby and that staff want to let him go loose and just throw it all over the field, that's not really Kirby's style. They could. But I think it's interesting that Jared picked Georgia because he could have went somewhere else. They threw it a lot more. And he didn't. I don't know what the reason is for that. A lot of kids, they don't care about winning. So that makes me think, Georgia's obviously got a great football program. It makes me think that he wants to win a lot as much as anything else. And good for Jared if that's the case. I like it when guys look at competition, not being concerned about it, and try to move up the depth chart. And the other thing is go somewhere where it's not necessarily about me. It's trying to find a way to be at a program where you're going to win big, like you're the next thing for them to get them over the hump. Maybe Jared Curtis will be that guy to help Georgia get back to a national championship. Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day. Truly appreciate you stopping in to get all your latest recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal news. Thank you once again, and everybody have a good one.